Hi friends, Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon, Assalamu alaikum, Ni hao, Sat Sri Akal, Namaste. In my previous video, there was a phenomena like cyber attack. So, with the video with the topic foreign policy 2 was being silenced at the end, and I don't know, that was a strange phenomena, but I'm going to continue with it, and we'll repeat the whole thing which was being deleted or silenced in my previous video. I don't know that phenomena, only very experts can tell that what was happened to that video, because while recording the video I was online, so that cyber attack was possible. Anyhow, yesterday evening, while sitting with the elders, a young man, he came up with a complaint that yesterday was 10th day of curfew in held Kashmir, in occupied Kashmir. And that young man was saying that scores of people are dead now because of hunger. Because nobody is allowed to come out of home, or their movement is being restricted in occupied Kashmir. And he was very emotional. I told him that I have forwarded his concern to some of my American friends, and I'm so careful while doing so, because Kashmir and jihad, and especially that term jihad, is the allergy has been developed there in the Western world, in civilized world, with the word jihad. And some of the organizations within Kashmir, they're fighting for freedom, militancy is there. So I've told that young man that Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he had won this Pakistan for you through table talks. He was an educated man, he knew the law, he knew the international law, and finally he had succeeded to convince the British colonial masters that Hindu majority is unwilling to accept formula for confederation, and is also bent upon brutalizing minorities within United India. So now there is no option left but to opt for a separate homeland for Muslims. So without firing a single bullet, Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah had won this country for our people. And he knew the force of world public opinion. We cannot have world public opinion in our favor while resorting to violent means, while resorting to militancy. So that is one big problem uh, which is hindering that solution of Kashmir problem, through the support of world community, because people in a especially in civilized world, in advanced countries, they do not help anyone who is utilizing violent means, who is resorting to militancy. So they do have reservations. And those who think that there is a discrimination against Muslims, it is not the case. Pakistan was created with the help of international community. And Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah was able to uh, convince the world community that separate homeland for Muslims is required here, is need of the hour here in subcontinent. But he was not a militant leader. Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah was a lawyer, a graduate from Lincoln's Inn, and an eminent lawyer, very honest and truthful person, and a good diplomat, well-mannered negotiator. So alone he was able to win that separate homeland for Muslims through table talks, like giving statements uh, which were quite convincing, and world public opinion was finally in favor of Pakistan, for creation of Pakistan, for its creation. So this is the way of doing things, and we should learn from our able Qaid. And obviously I am worried, and I do condemn atrocities which are being committed there in occupied Kashmir. That is, Kashmir is the Kashmir falls in the category of our ideological concerns in terms of our foreign policy, and our national interest is also involved in it, because our rivers, they come through Kashmir, and that is almost a lifeline of Pakistan. So to tackle that issue in my way, I mean, already the issue has been settled in UN General Assembly that plebiscite is going to be held in Kashmir. I don't know why they are not implementing that, because for sure, because of Indians, they are resisting it, and the occupied valley of Kashmir has been occupied by India. It is in their control. So if they are not holding plebiscite there, despite of the approval of General Assembly, it is their fault, and they are, paving the way for militancy by delaying plebiscite there. The other way is International Court of Justice. Even for that, when we go to the ordinary court, you need an FIR and a lawyer, and then finally the process will start. The case will start. But in International Court of Justice, you need consensus of both the parties. Say, for example, we want to settle Kashmir issue with India through International Court of Justice, then consensus is being needed. If India agrees for that, if both the parties involved, if they agree to reach International Court of Justice to seek justice on certain issue, then that case be handled by International Court of Justice. So that option also depends upon the willingness of India. And I don't think that Indians will ever agree with the present state of mind, if it prevails for long, uh, which is prevailing right now in India, with this state of mind, if I don't know when they'll change their minds, and but with present state of mind, they will never agree to that solution too. But now, the the humanitarian aspect of the issue demands some uh, response from UN and rest of the world community, because it's today is the 11th day of curfew in Kashmir, and people are really suffering, are dying with hunger. So there shall be some relief measures, and there shall be some more efforts on the part of international community. And if they have succeeded to change the mindset of Indian leadership, that will be great. If plebiscite is being held, the issue will be resolved. So, and all those who are concerned about moral bankruptcy within India and Pakistan, they shall know that on the same issue, on Kashmir issue, we had fought 3 wars. And those who don't know, it is for their information that war-trodden countries, people of war-hit countries, they cannot retain their same high moral standards which were there before wars. War brings economic devastation. It destroys the infrastructure. When the war ends, then people they face these two major calamities, and with obviously with economic degradation, their moral values are also, the moral values also are not uh, become victim of decay after the war because of economic devastation. So the hope is there that uh, if the and chances are bright, because both India and Pakistan are now nuclear powers, so major war is not possible between both. So the chances are that with economic growth, with economic development, with economic upgradation, probably our high moral standards will be back in our societies within India and Pakistan. In my previous video, when I have pointed out uh, that the portion which was being deleted, I'm going to tell that was a worst example of, tell again, that was a worst example of moral degradation, that there were terrorist attacks in Dhaka in East Pakistan, and Indian media and Indian government was swift enough to blame Pakistan for it. And the next day, the spokesman of Bangladeshi government uh, in Dhaka had refuted all the claims of India that Pakistan was involved in attacks within Bangladesh, within Dhaka. So the moral degradation is everywhere. The Indian media is also, I mean, without verifying anything, anything which bad happens, anything bad which happens, they blame Pakistan. And all this moral degradation is because is the outcome of the wars which the subcontinent has gone through for Kashmir issue. So my opinion is that if we really want to progress in all fields, then the resolution of Kashmir issue shall be top on our agenda, both in India and Pakistan. Why it is so? We cannot afford to have fourth war over Kashmir between India and Pakistan. Because of the mutual assured destruction capability of both countries, both are nuclear powers, and the issue is uh, so uh, so vital in importance for both the countries that and the people emotionally are attached with Kashmir in both countries on such a high scale that even our defense sources, they have highlighted this, that Kashmir can be a nuclear flashpoint. So it is high time for UN to intervene. 11th day of curfew, people are dying with hunger, and then, as I have narrated earlier, the points which I have highlighted, all this demand immediate intervention from United Nations and other humanitarian organizations to come forward and to help the people of Kashmir, whom are under curfew from the last 11 days. So, the better course of action for both India and Pakistan is to settle that issue in the light of the UN General Assembly resolution regarding plebiscite in Kashmir. That is already being settled. International community, the sanction of international community is behind it, and that is the most ideal way of doing things. And the second option is bilateral negotiations, but again with the same set of mind, with moral degradation, morally bankrupted. Uh, I don't want to use this word because we still have some good values. Situation is improving gradually, and if we are morally strong enough, we can settle this issue through bilateral means, but then again that will take too much time. But we can start at any point of time, and in the meanwhile, if curfew has been lifted from Valley of Kashmir, occupied Kashmir, that will be much better, and humanitarian assistance shall be immediately granted to the people of occupied Kashmir, popularly known as Indian-held Kashmir, so that human lives can be saved. And the best step will be a retreat of Indian Army from the Valley of Kashmir. I don't think that militancy can will hamper the retreat of Indian Army from there. Once the Indian Army is out, militants will there will be no militancy. I know too many people of Kashmir, and some of them were my class fellows too. They are very civilized people. Once you are giving them their rights through table talks, they will never take up a gun against you. I think that there shall be corrective measures and that shall be taken immediately, because stakes are really very high here. And all this misery, which is along with moral bankruptcy and corruption, which is prevailing here in both India and Pakistan, that is the result of three wars between us. Both of our economies were being devastated. Even now, we are spending too much on our defense, especially India, with a large population of 1 billion, more than 1 billion people. Recently, they had bought very expensive weapons of conventional nature. I don't find any logic in it. Once you are a nuclear country, nobody will attack you. Then why you are spending too much on conventional weapons? Why don't you take some welfare measures within your country? But problem is the same as I have narrated in my earlier videos, that we don't have that legitimate leadership. Hereditary political organizations are ruling us in the name of democracy here, and we don't have truly democratic political parties. So that is the one major reason behind all this prevailing corruption uh, and that substandard leadership, because there is no competition within the political parties here. Hereditary outlook in a real sense is hampering all that. Dear friends, in the West, especially in America, you find quality products because of the competition there. That is healthy competition within the private sector too. That the political parties, within the political parties, the whole world see how they compete with each other before becoming a party candidate. So, and America is a large country, and one needs a real stamina and brain to move around the, all of the states which are included in United States of America, and to convince the people regarding his or her party program as a candidate. So, and potential and abilities, because people, they check the whole thing. Finally, you have to. That is a. If we succeed to bring that thing, I mean, copying is not good, but we can make uh, some sort of changes to become a bit more democratic as political parties, to have a very healthy competition among us, so that our countries, both India and Pakistan, can get a really able leadership which can lead us towards progress and prosperity, towards peace. So most of the times, while dealing with China, the national interest was our main priority. historically speaking. And while dealing with Muslim world, ideology used to be our cornerstone of our foreign policy. Then economic interest, which is also a part of national interest and our national security interest. So these aspects have led us towards having normal relations with the non-Muslim countries of the world too. We were having ideological compatibility with the West up to larger extent, because with Christians and Jews we are having common prophets. I mean, we also believe in Jesus and Moses, peace be upon them. Being a Muslim, we believe in their prophethood, and we believe in their holy books too. And so much so that I mean, now Islam has different brands all around, but the type of Islam which is being taught to us here, we can enter into marital relations with Jews and Christians, being a Muslim. So that's why our defense allies are, because of the ideological compatibility, our defense alliance was with the West. And we were so close to America and its allies in the Western Europe. Then finally, now Eastern Europe has been also liberated. So our alliance with the West has given us too many advantages. Even personally, on my initiative as a journalist and as ex-officer of United Nations, UNHCR and UNOCRV, I had initiated that opening of doors for Pakistani exports a few years ago in Europe to another personal friend of mine who is having an important position in European Union. And I was literally shocked when they have told me recently that our exports to Europe are being decreased. Because after that initiative a few years ago, European Union had, after my initiative, European Union had opened the doors for Pakistani goods, and so I was literally shocked to know that exports are decreased. And now that we are in a very difficult situation currently, that our Prime Minister is, because of ill health, is not very active, and he is holding a portfolio of as a foreign minister too. So we don't have a foreign minister these days. And as usually I help my country as a journalist. All the journalists in the world, all the literate journalists, they do take care of their national interest too, while enjoying the sun, having international popularity, or international recognition as a logical mind or a literate being. So I was literally shocked to know that exports are being are decreased to the European Union. Well, so we must. Uh, I hope all those who have urged me to come up with that foreign policy analysis, uh, as I have narrated in earlier videos, that sociological aspect is so important uh, that before going into before dealing with the external world, any other country, we do uh, look into their culture, because both man and woman, they are product of their social environment. So their set of minds, their thinking, that all depends upon their culture, uh, prevailing norms and values in their societies. So their foreign ministers, their prime ministers, they're also part of their society. So they all have the same thinking. So we deal with them accordingly. The point which was deleted regarding Iran from my previous video, or not deleted but silenced by somehow, that was a cyber attack or whatsoever. That was it. We were having good relations with Iran, which is our immediate neighbor, till the days of Shah. Well, then there was fluctuation after the revolution there, and they had recently we have our armed forces have security forces have captured an Indian agent, namely Kulbhushan, who was running a network which is responsible for killings of around 60,000 people here in Pakistan through subversive activities. And ironically, he came through Iran. He was based there in Iran. Iranians, they were warming up with Russia, though the Soviet Union is no more there. And that ideological conflict that no more exists at the same scale as it used to be in the days of Cold War. But Russia is also having alliance with India, and Iran is almost in Indian camp. So uh, we shall strive to convince the revolutionary regime there in Iran. Not only they are causing so much social unrest here in Pakistan by helping militancy and arising sectarian feelings here, just to export their revolution in Pakistan. So their brand of Islam, because that is Shia Islam which is prevailing there in Iran. And obviously we have a Saudi lobby here, and because of their traditional rivalry with Saudi Arabia, uh, In Pakistan, Iranian lobby and Saudi lobby, uh, they are at loggerheads most of the times. So that issue has to be tackled, and we need a very skillful and diplomat and a foreign minister who can handle all this. Uh, that goes into our national security interest that if we succeed to soothe down Iran, cool down Iran, and if India, uh, the ideal is that we shall settle our all outstanding issues with India, and why shall we kill each other in this civilized world? I mean, nobody can afford to have that set of mind which is prevailing here in subcontinent. And obviously that set of mind is not uh, widespread in nature. That is prevailing in some very powerful and influential sections of society in subcontinent, especially in India, and that shall be changed for good of the people of India and Pakistan. And with China, situation is almost normal. Only balance of trade issue is there that is being tilted in their favor. We import more, and we export our exports to China are less. So that shall be balanced, and they shall consider that. The good news about China is that U.S. Secretary of State, he says that now their ideological stance is not that rigid as it used to be during Cold War. And both China and America, they have agreed to clean the oceans from uh, pollution, and there is going to be a big breakthrough in that respect. So I think I have addressed almost all the uh, concerns uh, of major nature, of important nature, which Pakistan is facing today. And though categorization is there, that whenever we analyze our foreign policy, our relations with the Muslim world, we categorize it into our ideological concern, and then with the non-Muslim world or with the communist world, we put it into a category of national interest and security interest. So no country can stay isolated in the world. And obviously, while having a very active and brilliant diplomatic corps as Pakistan is having, uh, we need a foreign minister who can utilize this corps uh, in the best interest of Pakistan, and I hope I am through with the concerns. Besides, there is again load shedding, and electricity is only the fan is running on that UPS, and lights are now gone. So I hope that there will be peace in Kashmir soon, and sanity will prevail within the subcontinent, and the better way is to implement the uh, UN resolution regarding plebiscite in Kashmir. So the people of Kashmir, they decide their fate, whether to join India or Pakistan, and I hope that the curfew will be lifted from there. And I also uh, hope that both the parties, they will try to settle this issue through peaceful means, and there will be no more violence in Kashmir. I wish all you all the best.